Been a head coach previously at Idaho, was an assistant at LSU.
And it'll be controlled by UTEP, and this is actually the first meeting between these two teams that does not feature Tim Floyd and Kermit Davis, longtime friends who coached together in the mid-'80s at Idaho. They're coming off a loss against UAB where they chucked 34 threes, and there's the first one in the air from their center, Paul Thomas, who's off the mark.
Well, in this league, Texas, San Antonio's, and I'll try and tell you what they're doing defensively. Look at the no help off. This is something that, this is a triangle and two that they're in defensively, where you face guard the two best offensive players from Middle Tennessee State. It's something that Bill Johnson, the interim head coach, is running, but it's something that Tim Floyd made famous during his time at Idaho and New Orleans and Iowa State. Let's just take the two best players out of the game and make somebody else beat it.
And that was Walters, who received the lob and put in the first two for the Blue Raiders. McGee looks for Thomas down low, and that's deflected by Walters and out of bounds. It'll go the other way. So what does UTEP do besides shoot the three ball to try and beat this team?
Well, first you're going to try and make somebody other than Nick King beat you and Giddy Potts beat you. That's obviously their game plan. And then I think you want to get out in the transition. Make Middle Tennessee uncomfortable. Now they're back into man-to-man, so they gave a little triangle and two look. They'll even kind of play triangle and two style man-to-man.
Another lob inside for Walters. That'll work again.
Well, that's the issue is UTEP going small, trying to spread you out with five perimeter players, even with their bigs. And Walters is a high major body as a big man.
6'10", redshirt senior,
250 pounds.
He's taking major leaps forward this season. That's off the mark for Kobe McGee. Walters averaged just under 5 points per game last season. Johnson with the miss, and he's up to 10.5 points per game this year. That's the senior, the stability, Omega Harris, who's had to handle a little bit more of the one this season. Tripped up, and that'll be a reach-in foul.
Well, Middle Tennessee State has been really smart. Let's just pick apart the defense, play inside out. We have a mismatch inside. Throw it up, and Brandon Walters keeps the ball high. Again, Brandon Walters being fronted, not enough pressure on the basketball. And Brandon Walters, you're not going to get two better looks to start your game than that.
Here's the problem, though. That's his first foul already, and he's fouled out of 6 games this year.
Watch his feet. He's got bad feet. For a man his size, sometimes it's all about your hands and your feet. He's not really a rim protector, and he's still a little bit heavy, even though this is the lightest he's been in his career. Well, he came in here well over 300 pounds. He said playing at 250 pounds. But sometimes even when you lose that weight, you're just naturally kind of slow-footed, flat-footed defensively. And that and conditioning are the reasons that he gets into foul trouble.
You know what? You never lose the nickname, Big Bradman. He turned 23 years old last Friday.
January 19th.
Trey Wade off the mark. Coming off a huge game, though, Trey Wade with 22 points, a career high for the freshman against UAB.
UAB kind of in that top tier in this league. Obviously, Western, Old Dominion in that discussion.
Dixon lines up a three, and Middle Tennessee with a 7-0 start in the first 3 minutes.
That's huge. Tyree Dixon can make that jump shot. Middle's going to be much more difficult to cover.
And Kermit Davis will throw a number of different defenses at UTEP. They went with the half-court 1-3-1 for a second. Phil Johnson didn't like what he did.
And if you watch what Middle's doing, just a 1-3-1 off of made shots. Here's a 1-3-1 getting Nick Davis. And if you watch what Middle's doing, just a 1-3-1 off of made shots. Here's a 1-3-1 getting Nick Davis and his long arms out on the basketball. But they do it on made buckets, so it slows your ability to transition against them and expose their size as a disadvantage.
McGee penetrates, kicks it out to Osborne. His three-point try is good.
Osborne's a great story. He played a year in Canada in college. That was 15 a game as a freshman. Matt Williams is not playing tonight, so a 6-year senior for UTEP. Saw him play, played with him in Canada, and was like, dude, you got to come to the States and play Division I basketball.
King from way outside, why not? Nick King usually likes to establish down low, but they give him space up top. And I asked Phil Johnson earlier today if they were going to double him. He said yes, but only inside, obviously.
You're not going to double a guy 26 feet from the basket.
And here comes Giddy Potts. He doesn't have the advantage, but he'll take it, and it's too strong. And rebounded by Paul Thomas. Another three for Osborne. Almost got a friendly roll. It's in the hands of Tyrese Dixon. And here comes Middle Tennessee, but they don't play fast. They're among the slowest teams in terms of pace.
Yep.
King off the glass, a little too strong. Middle Tennessee 4 of 6 from the field, and so far a 1 of 6 start for UTEP.
They were playing faster when they played in Hawaii. They just couldn't stop anybody playing at that pace. You got to play to your personnel. When you're going to play Brandon Walters, you can't play it lightning pace.
And this is how UTEP can get back in the contest quickly. Omega Harris with the three in the corner.
Now, I thought Omega Harris would have a little bit bigger year this year. And obviously, Keith Frazier having a disappointing season for UTEP. There was expectations he would have a big year. But still some talent here at UTEP, to which they can give you a game, not just making threes, but scoring in transition.
Harris, 17 points per game last year. He's just shy of 12 this season. He's shooting the ball less. Wade working on Walters. And that's knocked away by King, and he's hit before they could create the fast break.
Yeah, Kobe McGee's just got to get the ball moving and look to score when he drives in there. Everyone's playing him to pass.
The foul on Paul Thomas, a timeout on
now because
people have to understand it's just a kind of a different level of basketball.
He's found a home here. He has outscored his career point total this season already.
I mean, I think, look, like Darius Thompson, the Virginia transfer at Western, is a tremendous player, a versatile guard. Don't think he plays in the NBA. Taha Lee at UAB is a very good shot blocker, but he's not big enough to be a rim protector in the NBA. He doesn't shoot it well enough to be a stretch forward. You have to understand, there's 450 NBA players in the entire world. 450. There's 351 Division I teams. So the talent's spread out just a bit. There's 30 guaranteed contracts for rookies every season. If you do the math, the numbers are up against you.
Same for UTEP in this game down low. We'll see if they can keep creating from the perimeter. They'll try and swing it around quickly. It's Osborne with 4 to shoot. He'll chuck. And the weak side rebound to Simmons, who just checked in. Also, Gamble checks in for Middle Tennessee. Here comes King.
So here's the problem that UTEP's run into with Kobe McGee. So Kobe McGee is 15 in the blue jersey. He's the point guard, and he's a pass first, pass second point guard. Very quick, intelligent defensive player. See, he's matched up with Tyree Dixon, who they view as a non-scorer. So he's sagging down, and Tyree Dixon smartly plays the ball in. Well, nobody guarded him. The problem is that if you play way off of Tyree Dixon, now he has a clear line of sight to pass the ball into the post. Their defensive game plan doesn't match up with their defensive scheme. Schematically, they want to front the post, but you can't front the post if you're going to sag off of the passer.
Well, we just saw a missed 3 from Keith Frazier, who really hasn't played much since the beginning of the season. Barely played in the last game. Enters much earlier this time. That 3 ball from Edward Simpson puts Middle Tennessee up by 9. Simpson, the 6'2 senior out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Good cut from McGee inside. And again, an Osborne 3. So many possessions ending in the same way right now for the Raiders. Or for the Miners make that. Uh-oh. Look what we just discovered on Facebook, Doug.
No idea.
The anticipation is killing me. Oh, Trey Potts You gave him the shout out. He's watching. Let's go, big bro.
And it's Dante Frazier. I'm guessing that might be Keith Frazier's relation. You mentioned Keith Frazier, former McDonald's All-American, well-traveled. At SMU, then North Texas. Now at UTEP. This is a level to which, based upon some of his performances at SMU and a lot of the hype, he should be dominant. But he's left the team for personal reasons missed a couple games. It just has not gone smoothly.
Well, Giddy is very popular, going back to Potts. At Giddy Potts 20 on Instagram, even has his own fan account. And he made a name for himself a couple years ago. I know he's the number 20, but the number 19 comes to mind because that's what he dropped against Michigan State in that upset. As a 15 seed, they took down the number 2 a couple years ago. Thomas working on Gamble, and that is Flaggart for 3.
What's really interesting what Kermit Davis has been able to do here. In the Sun Belt Conference, it took him about 5 or 6 years. Davis is going to get called for an offensive foul.
And that is Evan Gilliard, who's the hustler. The shot of energy off the bench leads the team in diving on the floor, and he does it there. Hey, Laura, what do you have?
It's off the screen, and of course, Bill Murray, that one game and then retired. But Hoosiers is a better basketball, in my opinion.
And everyone watching, hook us up if we're
You have
missing
no
one,
idea.
too.
You're too young for one-on-one, aren't you?
I am too young for one-on-one, Doug.
There's a great
Sorry,
line
man.
at the end of one-on-one that I'm not allowed to share.
I was actually too young for He Got Game, too, but I made my father take me.
Robbie Benson wrote and starred in it. He actually shot at Colorado State University.
What year?
1977. It was like an 80s Colt hit.
Nobody on the floor.
I said Robbie Benson.
Yeah, we got Benson in there. Nobody on the floor, though, would know what we're talking about either.
One-on-one?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you're right. But there is a little bit of some of the stuff on the floor. He transfers at the end of the movie. So.
We do have transfers, including Keith Frazier actually turns 24 next Friday. He's the oldest player on the floor. We'll see if he gets extended playing time today. And he's guarding the ball right now. Middle Tennessee with 7 to shoot. Antoine Johnson's going to get a screen from Walters. Going to have to chuck one up. The spin floats inside, and he's hit as he went up. That's going to go against Flaggart. So good creating by Johnson with the clock expiring.
Johnson going one-on-one, and Flaggart comes from the weak side. Probably didn't even need to block that shot, but good call.
I was told that if you shoot quickly in a possession, Kermit Davis will get very angry.
Well, it's not that they don't want to shoot quickly. They want to, if you score in the first 6 seconds of a shot clock, you have a wide open look, you can take it. But otherwise, they want to run offense. They want to make people guard.
And the lead is 10 near the halfway point of the first half. Cold start for UTEP from the field. Just 18%. Here comes Gilliard. And he's bumped. And there's another way to beat Middle Tennessee.
Chris Pallone, I believe, says hoop dreams, then blue chips. Above the rim, Jared Collier got a thumbs up from somebody on that. Hoosiers, Jamie McCarthy says Hoosiers better than Space Jam.
That one went right to Simpson, and he's too strong on the layup, but he's fouled. Let's check out some options for you. Here we go. Above the rim, gotta like. Did we mention Above the Rim?
Above the Rim, a good soundtrack. I would not say it's a great movie. Right? But we're getting more into your era.
Yes. We're creeping closer. I know Hoosiers isn't technically in my era, but we watched it a bunch. High school basketball, the whole 9 yards. That's how you get pumped up for a season.
Yeah. I was in 5th grade with them. We had lost to Trabuco Hills in all our AAU, our travel team tournaments. Played them in Santa Barbara. Valentine's Day tournament, Goleta Boys Club. He went to see Hoosiers the night before. Keith Frazier showing some of that game that he had that made him a highly touted prospect out of DFW, Metroplex.
This is his third Texas school. Frazier with stops at SMU and North Texas. He was originally recruited by UTEP, eventually lands with them, and this will be his last season. He's playing as a grad.
UTEP hard to play against because they make your non-shooters shoot as often as possible.
10 of 12 shots so far from UTEP are from three-point land. Not much open inside.
Yeah, but you saw David Simmons taking that jump shot. He's made only 1 3 all year. That's exactly what the sky report says.
And a big board for Walters.
That's where Frazier, as a grad transfer, you just come out and hit a bucket. That doesn't mean you take a contested three the next time down the court.
Well, that's been the problem for him, kind of finding his way within the offense because he's been so in and out. Took a leave of absence at one point. Had 18 points a game in a 3-game span. Took that absence and he was out for 4 games. Back and forth, and another Edward Simpson 3-ball.
So that's where you have to look. Now, if you're Keith Frazier, you have to know the sky report. If you're guarding Edward Simpson, the only thing he does is shoot threes. Coming into the game, 46 of his 55 shots on the year were threes. You've got to know that and close out and make him put the ball on the deck.
And Kermit Davis wants him to be shooting more. He spent a lot of time in the auxiliary gym throwing up shots. Even on his Instagram said, "I'm balling like an athlete, but got no jumper." You know whose lyrics those are?
I do not.
Gucci Mane. Here comes Simmons.
I don't think you get to break out many Gucci Mane references on MLB Network.
I only had one shot there, man. And Simpson not shy yet again. And it's in the hands of Walters with another board. So he's actually coming off a career high 14 rebounds in 26 minutes. And
Evan Gilliard got fouled twice driving to the basket.
There's one.
Like there's no freedom of movement here. The size and ability to rebound of the Blue Raiders becoming obvious.
In conference play, they are first in total rebounds. You're also looking at a UTEP team 2 games ago that had 1 offensive rebound by Kobe McGee the entire contest against UTSA. They lost by 4.
Yeah, Kobe McGee is high tower over Kobe McGee. So when he's getting 1 offensive board, it shows you defensive philosophy.
Wide open lane for Anton Johnson.
And Trey Wade, the freshman, confused as can be on a ball screen. I know they're the Miners, but right now they're playing like the Matadors.
And those Miners only 1 for their last 8 from the field. Eight to shoot for Gilliard. Frazier has 5, so he'll chuck one, why not? And the board for King. Under the 8-minute mark, Middle Tennessee at 15-5 on the season, 7-1 on the conference. And they are a little 3 happy right now. Hawthorne off the mark.
Well, UTEP's not guarding their non-shooters, and Middle's taking the bait a little bit.
Thomas in and out.
What a board by Simmons.
And Hawthorne throws it to nobody. Out of bounds, timeout on the floor. And Stadium is your new national.
Glory Road. Bobby Joe Hill and Big Daddy David Lattin. Of course, Neville Shedd played on that team, started on that team. Neville was actually one of my dad's assistant coaches. My dad was a head coach in college. But some unbelievable men, unbelievable stories. And what a different era we live in college basketball. Thankfully.
Back off the timeout. UTEP's scoring drought is over 3 minutes long now.
Watch the spacing and ball movement from Middle Tennessee.
Gilliard will try a 3. Good fight from way down low, but it ends up with Gamble. And Johnson will handle the point. Donovan Sims in the game. He doesn't play much. 6 foot, 165-pound freshman. But Kermit Davis says, I'm going to get him in the game every single time we're on the floor, at least once, because good things happen when he's on the floor. Like that offensive rebound by Nick King. Sims again.
You're giving him credit for the missed shot.
Why
That's
not?
why they got the.
He said there's just something, even if he
No, there
doesn't
is.
do much.
Listen, no, that's okay. That's the old plus minus. Teams, you want the point guard. You want to just say, hey, coach, we play better when I'm on the floor.
And he applies, and maybe because he gets a round of applause that's more than most players. He's from Murfreesboro, a hometown kid.
But you can't be young in this league. You mentioned Keith Frazier's 24 years old. Nick King is 23, just turned 23 years old. This is a league because of transfers, junior college transfers as well. At this level, really at any level in college basketball, you got to be older. Look at even Duke losing today to Virginia. And Virginia, of course, lost 3 rotation players to transfer in the offseason. But what's hurting Duke is no bench, and they're just super young. Really hard to win with 18, 19-year-old kids.
Both free throws go for Simpson. Duke, average age 19, youngest team in the nation last I checked.
And remember, they're actually, they have Grayson Allen, who's a fourth-year senior. So think about how young the rest of the team has to be for that average to be 19 and change. Now, the other issue is they can't develop a bench because anybody comes off the bench wants to transfer now.
Second time from that spot for Nick King. They'll go off the top of the backboard. And they're leaving him wide open. I mean, obviously from up top there, but once he comes down low, they're trying to clog things up. But even for a team like UTEP that will try and clog up the lane, does it impose much intimidation when the tallest player on the floor is Paul Thomas at 6'8", and then you go down to Trey Wade with the ball at 6'6"?
They're trying to play small ball, and instead of trying to guard man-to-man, they're just trying to sag off guys and play the numbers shooting well. But you got to make those slashing layups that they've missed.
Unfriendly rolls. Gamble. Aggressive with the 2 right in front of the three-point line.
And now Gamble's a guy who, again, on the numbers, not a three-point shooter. But Paul Thomas didn't even put a hand up on that jump shot.
He's the backup center. Huge game for Gamble, who will pick up the foul against Western Kentucky. Put up 8 points, 5 rebounds. That was as many points as he put together in his prior 6 games. And that's the signature win so far within the conference for Middle.
Well, they were disappointing out of conference for the most part, with the exception of the Ole Miss, the dominating win over Ole Miss here. But what they get is Western beat Purdue. Purdue could well be the #1 team in the country very soon. And so you get a kind of like a by proxy win, The transitive property doesn't work in real life, but in the numbers of how RPI works, Vanderbilt winning today helps Middle Tennessee. And every time Western wins a game outside of when they play Middle, that helps Middle Tennessee as well.
And I'll say this for the Blue Raiders. All 5 of their losses are against teams that are inside the top 100 of the RPIs. They
no
lost
bad
to
losses.
Auburn, USC, Miami. Those are not bad losses, and they were tight losses.
Correct.
King's too strong. Walters tried the follow-up, and it'll go to UTEP. So let's play the game. What do they need to do to be an at-large bid? Let's say they don't win the conference championship because this conference is so deep this year. Do they need to essentially win out?
That doesn't hurt, right? So you have ODU. Well, that's as tough a road game as they're going to have because they've already won their difficult road games in conference. Beat UAB. Offensive foul. We'll get back to this conversation in a second.
Yeah, let's go to Laura right now as there's a timeout on the floor as we're under the 4-minute mark. Hey, Laura.
Hey, guys, we've been asking you to chime in on Facebook, and you can keep doing that. So don't forget to just use that comment section. Let us know your thoughts on the game.
I think in Kermit Davis' second year, they redid all the lower bowl seating. Above them, makes the attendance, makes this place seat like 11,000, which is a little bit too big, is bleacher seating for the second level. And for big games, obviously, and SEC teams come in here and gets filled. They're going to take that bleacher seating out, make it a little bit more quaint, because they're all going to be like sky boxes. A really cool environment.
I like the plan.
Anyway, you probably have to win out. You might be able to survive an ODU loss on the road. But if you win out, that would be sweeping Western, sweeping UAB, beating Old Dominion. You'd have a long win streak. I think Louisiana Tech on the road and ODU on the road are the 2 toughest remaining road games.
Foul against Walters. That should be his second.
think that was a foul. You're allowed verticality all the way to infinity. And Brandon Walters is trying to say so. He was actually out. He should have just simply fallen down, but he doesn't have to. You can jump straight up.
Johnson is in, Simpson is out. Check out the sneaks for Coach.
Just Phil Johnson got rocking. I need a little bit steadier hand on that camera. I know it's handheld and the crowd's going crazy, but I need some sneaker identification there on those Nikes. I couldn't tell if those were Flyknit Air Force Ones. I have a pair of those. They're super comfy. Oh, nice.
Coach was a player, co-captain of the 1979 Eastern Central Oklahoma University squad.
ECU, East Central Oklahoma.
King with 2 to shoot. He'll back up. And here comes Kobe McGee and UTEP. They'll try to push. Osborne in rhythm for 3. Tipped by Wade, but it ultimately ends up with Donovan Sims.
So, Scott, again, I don't know if you're old enough for this reference. So, this changed about, I'm going to say, 15 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
That's a Wade 3, and UTEP will call a quick timeout to set the defense down 15.
But college programs used to play exhibition games in the non-conference. Got the whole thing working.
Yeah, we've seen those all across college basketball in the past week. So Middle's up 15, living up to their name, significantly out-rebounding UTEP right now. There's a quick trap in the half court. Johnson pull up. Rebound Wade. And some extended time also for Jake Flaggart in this game, the 6'7" senior. And Phil Johnson's trying to find the right mix in terms of his guard combo, and he's not playing the youngsters as much so far today.
He also doesn't have Matt Willems, who's out with injury. That changes the rotation some.
Huge loss for them. He's been hurt for not only much of the season, but much of his career. Osborne can't get the little floater, but Wade cleans it up.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that he gets his award as 6th year, but if you combined all the years, he hadn't even played, 3 years of college basketball.
Broken nose, foot surgery last year, dealing with bone spurs. I watched him against UAB the other night, and he actually looked good, was moving around well, and then all of a sudden he hit a wall, had to sit down, and we haven't seen him since.
Well, that's the one thing about Conference USA is the travel is really, really rough. And you're playing Thursday, Saturday games. And this a 6 o'clock local start, so you play Thursday night and then in Birmingham. You get on a bus, you travel here, you take yesterday off, you walk through, get a little practice, walk through in the morning, and then you play. And while that might not seem like a big deal, consider where you have to travel from with UTEP. And places, you got to go to Florida in this league. Got to go to Mississippi in this league. You got to go to Charlotte in this league. Go all over the place. Travel is really, really rough.
Walters at the line, but Williams could have been the counter for Walters down low. 7'1" senior Canadian. As Walters nails the first, and Williams coming out of Findlay Prep in Nevada. He actually played with Anthony Bennett, former #1 overall pick in the 2013 draft. Made high hopes for Williams. He was averaging just shy of 10 points a game, and Phil Johnson said, hopefully we'll see him at some point the rest of this season, but didn't guarantee me this morning.
This is the problem with this type of offense against Middle Tennessee. Is Middle is just switching every screen and playing underneath every back cut, so you get and they're so good at defending the basketball.
Wade trying to play one-on-one and then look inside for nobody. Intercepted by Johnson, so he'll get the 3 chance. About a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock. UTEP at 7-13 on the season. I will say this, last year, 1 conference loss for Middle Tennessee against this UTEP team in El Paso. They were trailing by 17, made a major comeback. McGee with 3 to shoot, gets the roll. And now with 3 seconds, he'll take a quick chuck in the corner from Johnson. Will he get it up in time? He won't. And Middle Tennessee heads into the halftime break with a 13-point lead as they are holding this UTEP team.
And say, hey, we didn't get a fair whistle, because you're not going to be around next year, maybe not even next week, and you don't feel like you get the same level of respect that a Kermit Davis does, who's coaching the best team in this conference, and gives the conference a chance to win a couple games in the NCAA tournament.
And there was a ton of frustration by the UTEP players when they found out about Coach Floyd. That 2 off the mark for Antoine Johnson, and we'll have a whistle. So Omega Harris, one of the senior leaders of this team, said he was hurt, he was mad, and to calm him down, it was actually a Tim Floyd text who said, step it up as a senior leader and go through this adversity, because originally he broke down, and if he's breaking down, what's happening to the rest of the team?
Right. I mean, I understand that it's bad for a coach to walk away early in the season, okay? But what's the alternative? Great out-of-bounds play.
Hello, Antoine Johnson. That is the leaper on the squad. Best athlete by far on the team. 2-time dunk winner in their preseason slam contest.
But what's the alternative is you want Tim Floyd to coach knowing he doesn't want to be there, right? So while you should have walked away before the season began, I'm sure there was part of him saying, like, let's just get through this year, get through this year, get through this year. And then, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, the kids aren't going to enjoy playing for you.
Trey Wade has been a bright spot. He nails the 2. 6'6", 205-pound freshman coming off a career-high 22 against UAB.
UTEP back in this triangle in 2, which I don't understand why they didn't stay in it. So here's the alley-oop as Antoine Johnson, who, as you mentioned, he's the dunk champion on this team. UTEP gets screwed up. They simply ran a zone inbounds play. And everybody runs against the 2-3 zone. They ran it against a diamond and 1, and it worked perfectly.
And caption that bad boy. Please comment below. Tell us your thoughts. You can't say poster. No one was below him, but you could say, oh, looks good down there. I don't know. Giddy, let's Giddy, I like, for the Giddy dunk. And he's coming in strong, and he's hit. What do you think of let's Giddy? I've seen the hashtag a bunch. Hashtag LETS Giddy. Like, let's get it. Let's Giddy.
All right, sure.
Giving it about a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
You have something better? We're waiting for the hashtags.
No, I don't have one. Sometimes you just lay out and you let other people, you just know other people are more creative than you are.
I'm the messenger. I'm taking hashtags from other people.
I understand. I'm saying I'm not creative enough to come up with something that's really...
Maybe his brother can hook us up. He's watching.
Could be possible.
So Giddy, 2 years ago, top 3-point shooter in the land. The word was out last year. And now this year, actually, he's been staying outside much more. That's Harris. A little contact from Walters, but no call. Dixon inside. No roll. Walters cleans it up.
Jorge Salgado asked me on Twitter, Doug, do you have any young coaches who may be a good fit at UTEP while they conduct their head coaching search?
Great question.
Yeah, I think there's 2 that if you're a UTEP fan, you should be super psyched about. There's a lot of good coaches that would fit there. Scott Cross is at UT Arlington. A very good job in the Metroplex. They have a beautiful facility there, but it's not. I don't think it's as good a job as UTEP is. UTEP's a very good job. And the Haskins Center, when you get it going, can be a really tough home court advantage. So I would say Scott Cross at UT Arlington, or Chris Jans, who's at New Mexico State. Now, New Mexico State is the arch rival of UTEP, but they don't have the funds that UTEP has.
Mr. Walters throws down the oop. He's got 10 and 8 rebounds. It's Big Brandon.
This is one of the worst zone defenses I've ever seen in my life.
Hands were up. He was waiting. Brandon Walters from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Another transfer. And there's Trey Wade with the bucket. But you mentioned earlier what Kermit Davis does so well is find gold in his transfer players. And you said they could never get young. They're actually number 10, according to Ken Pom, in their experience rating. And that's where they could pull off upsets in the tournament.
Well,
the age difference.
Well, and Nick King, of course, is a grad transfer. You see King, second leading scorer in the league, shot take, 1 dribble, put it on the deck. Look, you got to be careful, those, transfers, especially fifth years, if they don't get their masters, they hurt your APR. You take too many of them, they're not part of the culture of your program.
Wade has a lay-in.
One of the things that they were able to do in getting Nick King, they knew who he was as a kid because they had recruited him when he went to Memphis. They knew they weren't going to get him at Memphis. Instead, he went to Memphis, but they thought we might get him when he transfers. When Josh Pastor left, he went to Alabama. And they recruited him yet again. So they really knew who he was as a person, and they weren't taking somebody else's word for it.
He's short on the three. He's had a bunch of tries from long distance today. Nick King, the leading scorer for the team in 16 of their 20 games so far this season. He's gone 20-plus 13 times, 30-plus 3 times. Giddy Potts, how about it? That's his bread and butter. Become more of a leader this year. Also, apparently, the biggest weightlifter on the team. He can rebound the basketball. And it's controlled by Dixon. King by himself. Just too much Middle Tennessee in the paint.
Yeah, there's no effort defensively at all in the Miners.
And Phil Johnson brought that up
He's going to put Thomas back in because at least Thomas got 4 fouls, but at least he plays home.
Harris turnaround. It's for King. Phil Johnson has complained about effort also with this team. The offensive rebounding among the worst in the nation. Easy layup again for Brandon Walters. He is too much for Jake Flagger down low, the senior, who's also in foul trouble. Wade wide open, and that's good for Trey Wade.
So the problem with a young player like Trey Wade is he's completely reactive to if that shot goes in. Shot goes in, he thinks he's playing well. Meanwhile, he's an undersized 4 right now. He's really a 3 playing the 4, and he's at a severe weight disadvantage. He's really not given as much effort in terms of getting low and forcing him off the block as he could.
Walters too strong. He has 12 points and 9 rebounds. Walters down low, and here comes Osborne. And Potts tried to take the charge. Instead, it will be 2 free throws for Isaiah Osborne. All right, before we go to Laura, let's go back to the alley-oop, although you need to be more specific for me in the truck because we had multiple alley-oops in the...
4. Guys.
See, now if I called that kid Spalding, would you know what that reference is to?
Man, you're killing me. How old are you?
I'm older than you.
I know that. You can't tell me. I could Google it if I want.
You should know a Spalding reference. $10 says he eats it. No, nothing.
I got nothing for you.
You ever seen Caddyshack?
I have so long ago and once. Want a Fresca?
You can't have delivered lines to your ear and use them as if you know them.
Nobody knows if
You
you
didn't
don't
know
give
the
it away,
Spalding.
Doug.
You didn't know the Spalding reference. That's a dead giveaway.
I'm sure many watching are in the same world. Simmons coming off a nice first half. Him and Simpson. And here's Osborne with the right hand, the scoop.
Osborne hasn't made one of those finishes.
Yeah, he was 1 for 11 the other day. He's battling an illness this week.
Is it missed layup-itis?
I didn't get the confirmation,
He's
but
a
that
good
sounds about
scorer,
right.
but he's trying to go away from contact. He's going there stronger.
And there's the cleanup from Simpson. Or make that Simmons down low out of Henderson, Kentucky. He's the point guard with the offensive board. What kind of defense are we working with here from Middle Tennessee? 1-3-1. All right, this is the hashtag.
Hashtag Giddy
Sweeping the nation.
Hashtag Giddy loves Space Jam.
So what do you think of that caption for the throwdown from Giddy? Giddy loves Space Jam?
I like the Giddy up is like, well, we don't have to overthink it. It works. Works. What a great career he's had, isn't it? Athens, Alabama.
Giddy up.
Leave this school an absolute legend.
A whistle down low.
Devastated by their second-round loss last year in the NCAA tournament. Didn't feel like he played as well as he'd like. Again, it looks like he'll get another shot. I do think, one of the things in getting ready for the NCAA tournament selection is there are all the numbers, the strength of schedule, RPI, and Simpson takes an open three. There is a human element to it. You see Middle Tennessee State, you know they've won a game the past 2 years. You have respect for Kermit Davis's program. I do think that plays in the factor, and it helps them out.
You think that helps with the committee?
No question.
Gilliard is too strong on the
because
three.
you've ever gone through the process of how you select teams, like you don't have to use. There's no stat you have to use. At the end of the day, you just pick. You got 5 spots left. There's 12 teams on the board. You pick them.
What a look from King to Gamble for the flush.
A beautiful pass from King. The Blue Raiders were ready for the post-to-post double. They worked on it in practice, and spacing was just so.
Rebounding margin is in double figures for the Blue Raiders. There's another one for King. And 14, plus 14 in points in the paint. Sims back in the game. Looks like King's going to do a little one-on-one work. And that'll be a foul.
Well, there's King. The post double comes, and no one slides down to help Brandon Walters. You're not going to get an easy one. Actually, it wasn't Brandon Walters with the dunk. That was Carl Gamble, wide open.
In El Paso, but it's a down season for the team. Hey, kids.
Obviously, Western, Bowling Green, you expect them to draw well. It's a great basketball town. UAB is a great sports town as well, right in the heart of Birmingham.
Look at Nick King, second in the conference in points per game, and he's shooting 50% from the field. 3-time conference player of the week.
Middle Tennessee used to be known as Middle Tennessee State Normal School. Then it was Middle Tennessee State Teacher College. Now it's Middle Tennessee State College and Middle Tennessee State University.
And of course, UTEP was Texas Western until here did they convert. I don't remember.
And then now you got the Texas Rio Grande, which is combined Texas Pan American, and I can't remember the other one. So you have all the University of Texas programs or schools.
Paul Thomas at the line. 6'8" junior.
Murfreesboro is in the middle of Tennessee, but it's also about 45 miles as the crow flies from Nashville proper. Nashville, one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. And of course, you got big Nissan plants all over. Franklin and Smyrna.
Subs in the game for Middle Tennessee. No starters on the floor right now for the Blue Raiders. Gamble doing some work. Almost lost it, picked it back up. That's good for 3. Oh, they'll call it a 2. It looks like it's people behind the line. Paul Gamble with a little range today. And that's stolen away. Donovan Sims is going to push it up. Simmons floats. Oh, we almost had our third alley-oop of the second half. They wanted another caption. Keep those rolling. Comment below. A foul will bring Evan Gilliard, a.k.a. Smoot, to the free throw line.
This is the one where it's kind of hard to catch an alley-oop as a right-hand player from the left side. David Simmons, Tallahassee Community College. Trying to climb up, and the ball just went out of his hand.
Simmons at 6'3", 195 pounds. Brings up the basketball when Tyree Dixon is on the bench. Kobe McGee checks back in, along with Trey Wade, a couple freshmen. And another freshman at the line in Evan Gilliard out of Simeon Career Academy in Chicago. Same alma mater, of course, as Derrick Rose and Jabari Parker.
Derrick Rose, it's hard to even remember he's still on the Cavaliers. Isn't that crazy? Like how quickly his career has faded.
Savor the moment. Left side three for Donovan Sims.
The best part about Sims hitting that shot was he didn't get a particularly good pass from David Simmons. He missed an open corner three in the first half, then turned down a couple other looks. You want him to confidently step into those catch-and-shoot threes.
You can find Sims on Instagram, often using the caption, "Not done." Well, I hope not. You're a freshman. McGee with 4 to shoot. It's Osborne in the corner, off the top of the backboard, and Gamble has it. Sims, pretty spin. Now the crowd's going to get excited. They love when the freshmen, when the players like Miller, they're already going to call for Miller, and we'll go over his entire story. Chase Miller, who's a walk-on. I'm sure we'll see him in this game. He has not scored this season. Last game I watched, there were signs saying Miller time. They have a Miller time chant. There's cardboard cutouts of this young gentleman. First guy in the gym every single day. Actually had some offers from D2 and D3 schools. Scored a little over 20 points per game in high school, and they have just fell in love with the shaggy hair. You feel the love?
I do. Well, you know, today's a day in which it's the 17th anniversary of the plane crash at Oklahoma State, year after I graduated Oklahoma State. And a couple of the players that were killed in that plane crash were walk-ons. And actually, my roommates in college one of my roommates in college was a walk-on as well. And my brother was a walk-on in college. Those are guys that show up, take a beating, play defense every day, usually really good ball players, just not good enough to be on scholarship at that level of university. And so, yeah, I used to love to play with the walk-ons. The only problem was they were under such pressure to shoot and score. It was terrible basketball. You get the game, shoot it!
Gamble gets the roll, and the foul. He'll head to the line for a chance for the old-fashioned three-point play. Middle Tennessee has the chance to stretch the lead to 30. And this is the damage they did actually last year against UTEP. They did lose in that one game in El Paso, but then they met up in the semifinals of the Conference USA tournament, and they had it from the get-go, a 26-point W.
This league has some good older big guys. Dwight Colby at Western Kentucky, of course, he's a two-time transfer, most recently a transfer from Kansas. So they need depth inside, not just size inside.
In the corner, Trey Wade. And so the rebound for James Hawthorne, a.k.a. Tukey. And there he is right now. See, he has a bandage on his right middle finger. Gamble off the mark. Dropped a weight on that finger, about 50 pounds, so it caused a little blood to burst. Had to get stitches and missed the shoot-around on Thursday.
Who's the spot? No spot?
No spot?
Did he have a spot where he's lifting 50 pounds? What were you doing?
No, he didn't. They were dumbbells, and he was by himself, and the strength coach was not happy about the way that he was doing it. He said, dumb mistake, but he hasn't paid for it. He played well last game. Hawthorne, the 6'7", 205 junior out of Prentice, Mississippi. This is what Middle Tennessee will do. Work that clock and then Gamble down low. Oh, that's pretty. And Frazier. So Middle Tennessee, in terms of adjusted tempo, which goes on pace, is 279th in the nation. One of the slowest working teams on offense. Good or bad? Is that good or bad?
How many wins they have? How many losses they have?
They have going on 16 if they pull this one off, and they're in good shape right now. Under the 7-minute mark with a huge advantage. It was never close here against UTEP. Does that work against Power 5 schools in the NCAA tournament. We've seen that work in the past. Holds to go in the game. When can you bring him in? Because he usually comes in the other day, 30 seconds left. That's not enough time for him to potentially get his first points of the season. Can we work, say, over-under at the 3-minute mark?
I would. I mean, like, look, you're not going to get many more chances. There are some teams in the bottom of the league, they start to play, and they play here.
Giddy Potts too long, and Walters with the rebound, just kind of throwing it up with two hands.
But I would put him in here with, when you have Giddy out there, you have Walters out there. Put him out there with a couple of starters and run a play for him. Let him get a bucket. Let him get a taste.
Coach Kermit Davis said 2 times, and keep in mind, he has coached for a long time, 2 times has he had players like Miller play freshman through senior year. That's actually
get on the feed here and see what we want. Chase and Miller time now.
There's a big contingency of Giddy Potts fans based on the name, based on what he did a couple years ago against Michigan State. You know Giddy Potts' real name? I found this out. It's top secret information. It's not on any media guides. You have to go straight to the inside source. Do you know the name?
I know. I was listening into your conversation a little bit, but go ahead.
Nathaniel is the name. I was told I was allowed to give it away, but many people don't know it. Giddy was all smiles when he was a baby, and they said, oh, he's Giddy. And it's been like that ever since.
Do you have a nickname?
Do I have a nickname? Just variations of Scott. You know, Scotty, Scooter, stuff like that. But
Scooter,
yeah. But I try and stay away from Scooter.
For now on, you're Scooter Braun.
Here's the problem: Scooter Braun is the name of the manager of Justin Bieber. So we have separate Wikipedia pages now. I go with Scott. He's Scooter. That was the agreement between our lawyers. I know it's a lot to digest.
Scooter Berry from one of the Berry brothers, the first Berry brother to play for one national championship at KU.
How about best names in college hoops right now? Can I throw a few at you?
Go.
Shake Milton, SMU.
Yeah, from Bixby, Oklahoma. Sure.
7th Woods, UNC. Tum Tum from Michigan State.
Tum there.
Taco Fall, UCF.
Taco Fall, he's out for the year, actually.
He is, and that's Evan Gilliard. Not a clean dunk, but an and one, and to the line. They have high expectations for him. His last 4 games entering this one, he was at 14 points per game.
See, the problem with putting Giddy Potts in there with like Taco Fall is the fact that Taco Fall is actually his name, whereas Giddy, it's a great nickname, but it's not actually his name.
Sure.
I'm not trying to diminish Giddy because anytime you say Giddy Potts, like, I love that guy, Middle Tennessee State, right? It's not his name, so we go best names or best nicknames. 2 different things.
It's in the media guide, but they didn't cross the goal line by actually putting it on the birth certificate. So you need to get in the end zone with a name like that. You actually have to have it on the birth certificate for it to count.
No, but you're saying, are you saying nicknames or are you saying real names?
You're just floating out names and letting people comment.
I know, but I think you have to differentiate.
Okay.
That'd be the name. Must be the name here. This is a remarkably non-competitive game.
Did you expect this?
No, I thought UTEP. I thought UTEP would screw up a little bit by not guarding them, not guarding guys. I did not. I honestly think the mistake was not guarding guys. It was that Kobe McGee should have been. Kobe McGee, you have to put him in the box someone. He has to guard Giddy Potts, and you have to have one of your big guys out on the basketball so that you can. Because otherwise, Middle was just coming down, throwing the ball inside to Walters. Brandon Walters got 2 layups to start the game, and they're like, okay, we can't run triangle 2 or box and 1.
In comes Gilliard. No whistle, a lot of contact. Dixon, it's intercepted. Was that a foul?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And Frazier going the other way. So we'll get a good look at Keith Frazier here. Big recruit coming out of high school. Actually, a former McDonald's All-American chucking up the 3. 1 season in his college career, over 30 games. Big athlete, high expectations coming into school, some academic issues and some trouble off the court.
Right, with the academic issues before he got to SMU were ultimately what led to SMU being on probation, where Larry Brown's secretary finished up his work so he could get a class, so he could get eligible. And ultimately that caused him to leave the program. It wasn't because of injury. that he left that program. Then he went to North Texas and, of course, grad transfer here. And he's a very talented player. That had he stayed at SMU, probably wouldn't have lived up to the billing as McDonald's All-American. But last year would have been his senior year playing alongside Shake Milton. That would have been an unbelievable combination. Especially with the rest of the Semi Ojale that they had last year, playing for the Celtics.
Technically the leading scorer on this team, even though he hasn't played all of the games. Just under 12 points per contest, and he's denied by a couple Middle Tennessee players down low, including Brandon Walters and also James Hawthorne in on the act.
You have to know when you put the ball on the deck, they're coming to help. UTEP has spacing, but you can't leave your feet.
And it's Walters with the easy two.
Just too big. It's too big. At this level, Dwight Colby is probably the only guy in this league that has the size to match up with Walters.
I've been given word that there's a player on the court right now with a family member who contributed a photo that's coming up. And it's apparently unbelievable. I haven't seen it yet with my own eyes, but you need to see it. 10 on the cuteness scale. And it could be from the player who just put Evan Gilliard on the floor. A crack on the floor. Holy cow, Tyreek Dixon. Someone lost a contact. And here he comes. We'll go the other way. All right. Rate this on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of shakes.
Tyreek Dixon being guarded by Evan Gilliard. He was already slipping once. Oh, sniper.
And he pointed. The point for the finish. Stick the landing.
Gilliard was, but I don't know what is he doing. Is he tripping there?
That's beautiful.
That's one where you go to your manager and you say, please destroy the tape. That's a cute kid.
That's a really cute kid.
That's a really cute kid. You know, everybody thinks their kids are the cutest. Their vacation pictures are more important than your vacation pictures. That's a cute kid.
All around great day for the Dixon family. Three for Gilliard is short. And apparently we have Antoine Johnson's mother with a contribution on IG. Sixth man with the hat. Looking good, although he's a starter now.
Nope.
But I know what she's talking about. Talking about the crowd. But Antoine Johnson actually on Instagram, at Antoine2Johnson, has pictures with his mom, huge fan. And had a picture posted earlier this week, posing with a bunch of teammates by a car. Averages at least one emoji per caption, and this man is serious on IG. And there is what will be the man of the last couple minutes of the game. Chase Miller, 6 foot, 185-pound, redshirt sophomore. 20 career minutes, 14 games, 0 points, 0 for 5 shooting.
You are a one-man hype squad. It's really, there's Antoine Johnson. Of course, you saw his mom on Facebook with a 6-man hat. A great athlete he is.
And just recently inserted into the starting lineup. You like him better off the bench or in the starting lineup for this team?
I mean, look, they're playing better basketball, and all the stats have gone up since he's been in the starting lineup.
The three for Frazier is off the mark. All right, so we're under the 3-minute mark. He shakes from Sims. And Simmons pull up for 2. Here we go. Why wouldn't I hype this man? Listen to this crowd. Chase Miller.
I mean, you had his birth weight. You spent a lot of time researching.
There was a great article in the local paper on that man, Chase Miller, the other day. And a timeout is called with 2:22.
It's really hard to do, to sit on that bench for an hour and 40 minutes and come off completely cold. There's a lead article in the Tennessean today.
I was all over it. Morning paper and a coffee. And Wade is bumped. Starter's still in the game for UTEP too, so that'll make it more difficult. He's being guarded by Isaiah Osborne.
I think UTEP's just trying to make it respectable, get it under 20.
Go Chase.
Go Chase.
Give the people what
Edgar
they want.
Montiel, go Chase.
My brother-in-law was a 4-year walk-on at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Yes. And these were the moments that you live for.
That was a walk-on at Ohio State.
You always remember.
John Havlicek and Bob
You
Knight.
played with John?
Did.
All right, so 7 to shoot, and that is not Chase Miller.
Chase Miller just blending in a little bit too much. Like, hey, dude, we didn't bring you in to move the ball.
And you said maybe keep him in with a starter, but that's not going to be the case at this point. He's
No.
playing with the subs.
So now you got to run something. Now he's gotten a couple touches. He's touched the basketball.
All right, fans. Miller time. Keep the comments coming, okay? Because we'll keep them rolling, and maybe they can hear us on the floor. Who wants Miller time?
Man, that was a bad miss for Trey Wade. Backboard first.
Nothing has gone right for UTEP. And Chase with the basketball. What do you do there?
I mean, he made the right basketball play.
Rising up is James Hawthorne. Omega Harris count the basket, and he'll head to the free throw line, and Chase Miller gets in the book
There
with
you
a
go.
foul.
There you go. Any stats are good stats. It's like any publicity is good publicity.
Just want to be in the morning Tennessean.
And any stats are good stats. I mean, now what you need to do is you need to clothesline a dude, right? Just go out there, clothesline him, maybe steer him down, get a flagrant, make something of your time. If he gets a touch here, it's got to go up.
Got to get in the College Hoops Weekly highlights for Tim Doyle to rip it up. We'll see if Chase Miller finds some open space. He's in the corner, drives baseline, puts it up, and he's stuffed by Trey Wade. Don't caption that. And a foul. And the basket counts for Evan Gilliard, but back to Chase Miller. Maybe one more chance before this one expires. Welcome to D1 basketball.
Trey Wade's like, I'm not going to let you just score. No thanks. I got to work on my floater game. Got to work on your floater game.
Trey Wade beefing up this season, has to play the 4, and Coach Johnson said not happy about it this year.
He's not happy that he has to play the 4, so he has a mismatch? Hey, dude, that's what you're going to be. Probably be a 5 next year.
Another alley-oop. It's Sims hooking up with Davion Thomas, the redshirt freshman.
I believe Davion Thomas may have done a Marshawn Lynch touchdown celebration. And that's why I don't think it's the hanging on the rim. I think you be the judge. I believe there's a gesture afterwards. That's what got him a technical foul.
Very easy hashtag you just teed up for everybody with an alley-oop on what just happened there. You know what I'm talking about. Beast mode, Mr. Thomas.
They did not call a technical foul.
10-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Maybe one more chance for Chase Miller.
Darren George said, we don't need more free throws. Let's just
get on
this guy moving.
Fewest points allowed this year from Middle Tennessee. It's back for Gilliard on the putback. All right, last chance here. There is a 1-second differential, so do you have to dribble this out?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Miller fans. Another day. He's wide open in the corner. I cannot emphasize enough how nuts this place is going right now for Chase in the corner.
He needs a back cut on the drive. Back cut. They're going to dribble it out.
Strong statement win for Middle Tennessee. I know it's not the upper echelon of the conference, but to blow away weaker opponents is what they need to do.
It's a no-doubter. It's a no-doubter. There's 1 second left, and they're going to make them finish it up. For a team that has played so much better.
And Davis's squad will improve to 16-5 on the year, 8-1 in the conference. A lopsided victory for Middle Tennessee, playing their brand of basketball from the start of the game defensively, and other players stepping up, which is